So this has been a pretty crazy week for me, and I've been going through a lot of things from dealing with a very personal family emergency to seeing the end of a 7-year relationship, which was perfectly mutual and perfectly amicable, but still very difficult. And so, kind of been scrambling around for the last week and a half or so. Haven't really had time to put the finishing touches on the Voyager review, but I wanted to get something up, and lo and behold, it turns out it's been a pretty crazy week or 2 weeks or so in the world of Hollywood as well, which is good because it gives me something to talk about. I am, of course, referring to the news that Ben Affleck is going to be playing Batman in the new Batman Superman movie or crossover or whatever it is, whatever it's called. Don't really have all that much information about that movie yet, so we don't really know if this is a Superman movie that has Batman in it or if it is a real, legitimate crossover. We don't know. Superman has shown up in the Batman comics before. It's not unprecedented. That wasn't really a crossover, so I don't know if this is going to be a crossover. I mean, technically it's a crossover, but what I mean is this going to be a joint film? That Batman comic or graphic novel was not exactly a joint comic book. It was a Batman comic book. So is this going to be a Superman film? Is it going to be both having their equal share of the pie? I guess we'll just have to see. That's the one question that I've been asked that I can't really answer right now, and that question is, how do I feel about the Batman-Superman thing in the next Superman movie? The answer is, I don't think we have enough information yet. All I know is that Batman is going to be in it. I cannot give an opinion with that little amount of information. It's the same as everything, just like everything else. How I am going to feel about this depends on what they do with it. If it's just to see Batman and Superman fight, I'm probably not going to like it. If it doesn't suck like Man of Steel sucked, I'm going to like it. So it really just depends. But I think the news that Ben Affleck has been cast as Batman has well overshadowed the news of Batman and Superman being in a film together, which is pretty remarkable. I mean, Batman and Superman being in a film together, as I understand it, has been a demand from fans for a while. Why? I don't know. It has worked occasionally in entertainment, but I'm not really chomping at the bit to see a whole bunch of crossovers. I've said before, I did not really care that much for the Avengers. I think it has its place. But seeing a bunch of superheroes on screen together, just doing things, not really my thing. Is this going to be that? I don't know, but I already went into that. But yeah, the news that Ben Affleck is going to be playing Batman, I think the internet got a little upset at that. Yeah, I have kind of noticed a whole lot of backlash ever since that was revealed. It's just so funny because this happens, and I know this has been said again and again and again. I think it requires saying here. This happens so often with the casting decisions of the Batman films. It happened with Michael Keaton. Fans, in that case, petitioned as well to get him out of the film and to have him not play Batman. Everyone was skeptical about Heath Ledger. And I think what goes on here when this happens is we're all drawing from the past. You know, before Michael Keaton played Batman, he had only ever done predominantly comedic roles. So you couldn't really picture him playing something as serious as Batman. With Heath Ledger, he had done predominantly teen-oriented films, and so it was really difficult to think of him playing a psycho. And so this is the problem I think that we're having, is that we just don't have a frame of reference to see these actors in these roles. With regard to Ben Affleck, I think the problem is much bigger with regard to that issue than it is for the other two. Because most people, including myself until I saw Argo, do not take Ben Affleck seriously. And that is because he kind of gives the impression that he's not really taking this seriously either. His roles have kind of been hit or miss. They haven't all been good. I think they've mostly been bad. He's mostly been in bad films like Armageddon, where the role wasn't that great and he didn't do a great job in it. And I think that we are so caught up in reputation when we think about him playing this role, that we're not really giving it a chance. We're sort of trying to head this off at the pass and just preventing any possibility of Ben Affleck fucking this up. And I'm not going to say that I didn't have that reaction or that I'm condemning anybody for having it, because I think I probably had the exact same knee-jerk reaction as everybody else did when this was announced. When I first heard that Ben Affleck was playing Batman, I honestly thought it was a joke. I even called my brother up and said, this has to be a joke. I couldn't believe it. As time has gone on, I've kind of softened up, not necessarily on the idea of the casting choice, but I've decided to give it a little bit of a chance. And I think the best thing for all of us to do right now is just to give it a chance. It is one thing to be skeptical about something like this, and make no mistake, I am still tentatively skeptical. But when it comes to things like this and this, which that's actually really funny, but nevertheless, it seems to me that this is going a little bit beyond skepticism, and we're jumping right to everyone already seems to know that Ben Affleck is going to fuck this up, and now they're just pre-criticizing him for it. And I don't think that's necessarily a good idea. The people that are making these movies, the Dark Knight trilogy and the new Superman franchise, they haven't been making the best decisions in the last couple of films. I'm talking about The Dark Knight Rises, which wasn't very good. I'm talking about Man of Steel, which was piss awful. But they're not stupid. I mean, they really are not stupid. If they're casting Ben Affleck, it's not because of name recognition, because they don't need it. It's not because of a selling point, because they know they're not going to have it with him. If they're casting Ben Affleck, I have to believe it's for some good reason. Maybe he went in there and he gave the best audition of his life. Maybe they were just as surprised as we are if we come to find out that he did a good job, because maybe he did a good job in there. Maybe they know something we don't. That's what I have to believe at this point in time. Rather than just grabbing a pitchfork and saying, we need to toss Ben Affleck in a volcano, we need to toss the casting director into a volcano, I think we all just need to take a step back and see what happens. Look, guys, if the movie is good, it is going to take Ben Affleck legitimately trying to fuck this up to make it bad. One casting decision is not going to throw the whole thing out. It really just depends on the film. If he portrays the character correctly, that's wonderful. If he does a semi-not-so-great job, but that's the thing, we don't know how involved Batman is even going to be in this movie. So I don't even know how essential this role is going to be. But even if he does just kind of a so-so job, is this going to be worse than George Clooney? Probably not. I mean, it's probably not going to be the absolute worst portrayal of Batman that you can possibly imagine. I think at best, this is probably just going to be okay. But I'm still kind of in the mind frame of, like, to be honest, I just thought Christian Bale was okay. You know, I thought Val Kilmer was okay. I can live with an okay Batman as long as you put him in a good story. And if this thing has a good story, hopefully to make up for the shit that Man of Steel was, which was piss awful, then it's going to work for me and it's going to be fine. I just don't think that right now we know enough about why this decision was made to really be as heavily railing against this as everybody seems to be. And like I said, I'm not exempt. I had exactly the same reaction. I was making the same jokes, and I was doing the same comparison to Daredevil, because everybody is saying, oh, you know what, he already fucked up Daredevil. And I once again, legitimately, I said exactly the same thing at first. That was my initial reaction. But you know what, you guys? Daredevil wasn't bad because of Ben Affleck. Daredevil was bad because the movie was bad. And if they continue to make bad movies like The Man of Steel, if this is just going to be another Man of Steel where it completely and utterly sucks... Man of Steel is getting a Confused Matthew review, by the way. I don't know if you could tell by all of my Man of Steel hatred in this, but yeah, that movie sucked. If this movie sucks... It doesn't matter if Ben Affleck does a good job or a bad job or whatever. And if you don't like his portrayal of Batman, you do not have to watch this movie. It's not like there's nothing official about this. It's not like Batman officially sucks now because Ben Affleck has the job. I mean, this role has been played by so many different kinds of people over the years, some of which did a great job, some of which did an okay job. I say let's just wait. Let's just find out a little bit more with regard to how important Batman's role is going to be in this role, or find out what the movie is going to be about. How are they going to use this character? That's what I'm a little more interested in. So I think that's really all I have to say about this. The casting decision, on the face of it, it does seem a little odd. But like I said, as Batman fans, we've been through this time and time again. There have been very, very few poor casting decisions in Batman history. I think Batman and Robin was just about the only one to get everything absolutely wrong. This is not going to be Batman and Robin, I don't think. I have to believe this is going to be a little better than that. So now, my advice for the time being is just let's everybody calm down, wait and see what happens. Don't petition him to get out of the film. Just let the chips fall where they may. This is their product. We are the ones that are going to be judging it. If they do a bad job, then we can rail against it. Until then, let's just find out.